Hey y'all, I'm Angela C. Styles.
And I am Kiyah Wright.
And we are bringing you every Monday a new discussion called Beauty Talks.
Yes. We're going to be talking about money. We're going to be talking about branding, relationships, strategy, marketing, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, on
Right.
Clubhouse, we wanted to just give you guys a one-on-one, like more candid, honest, discussion about everything that we've been through, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, and how we actually made it to where we're at right now. So you don't have to be in the beauty industry, but obviously we're both in the beauty industry. So that's what our conversation is going to be focusing on.
Beauty Talks every single Monday. Be sure to tune in.
Okay, you guys, we're going to get it popping. We're going to let people kind of trickle in as we talk. So the main reason that I wanted to talk about this is because I have had so many ups and downs with doing my taxes and doing everything. And now that we are approaching tax season, I just felt like this was the perfect time for us to really get into it. So,
But wait. Let's first just catch up a little bit first. How's it been going? I know you are on a TV show. For those of you guys who don't know us, it's a lot of new people in this room, so we should probably first introduce ourselves.
You're right. I'm getting a little hasty. I'm getting a little beside myself.
Exactly.
I just be thinking that we all friends. And
Exactly. So you guys, I'm Kiyah Wright. As you guys know, I am out here in Beverly Hills. I work with lots of celebrities. I'm also a 2-time Emmy Award winner, Hollywood Beauty Award, DC. I'm from Washington, DC as well. I migrated to LA 18 years ago, and I've been out here pushing ever since. I've had a very successful career, and I have great relationships. I have had some great times making money and some money challenges, as well as some branding knowledge. All of these things that I want to share, because these are all of the things that has helped me grow to the success that I have to the successes that I have accomplished to this day. So that's a little bit about me. And Angela, tell me about yourself.
Hey guys, so I was a little hasty. I just like jumping in, I just want to get right into the program. But a little bit about me, I'm from Chicago, born and raised. I came in LA probably about 10 years ago to pursue my passion of hair. I kind of just felt it, and I came out here to visit and was just like, wow, like I really think I could do some things out here. Yeah. So I came, I jumped right into the industry, and I just been going ever since. A couple of titles that I hold, I guess you can say, is like Kiyah, I'm right behind her. I'm a one-time Emmy Award winning hairstylist, which is probably one of the biggest highlights of my life. I'm also an author. I wrote a children's book called Hair because I'm a big healthy hair care enthusiast, and I'm all about encouraging women and girls to just love their curls. So Hair is the name of the book. It's been out for about 3 years now. If you have kids, little girls, you want to get it for them. It's available everywhere on Amazon, everywhere books are sold online. I also work in like branding. So I work with brands. I help do brand development. I'm currently working with Cantu on their new rollout of things. I've worked with other companies in the past like Mayel Organics and Girl in Hair. Even all the way back to working with Salon Pro 32nd. So I've been on the product side of things. I also am the founder of my own hair extensions brand called Conscious Curls. We give back a portion of our proceeds to nonprofits that help women and girls. But Conscious Curls focuses on textured hair as well, empowering women to wear their hair and make styling their hair more a part of their lifestyle and make it easy and not like a chore,
Exactly. So tell me what you're doing now, though. So what are you doing today? I know you're doing your hair.
Yeah. So Conscious Curls,
but you're also on a TV show.
Yeah. So during the pandemic, I really embraced fully being a CEO of an e-commerce brand. I think before that, when I had my salon, I closed my salon. But before that, I was really focused on working on clients day to day, working on everyday women and celebrities and everything in between. Now I am working on television and film with the beautiful Elaine Welteroth on The Talk, which has been kind of,
So wait. So tell us who Elaine is, because I just found out who she was. So for those of you guys who don't know who Elaine is, who is she?
So Elaine, she is a beauty girl. She basically was one of the first Black women to be the editor-in-chief at Teen Vogue.
Exactly.
So she kind of made a big splash in the industry because she pivoted the focus of what Teen Vogue was about and turn it into much more like political and much more about like self-acceptance and, you know, really being inclusive of all women, all shades, all sizes.
Yes.
And she just really was a pioneer in terms of the voice of Teen Vogue.
Because Eve was there first, and you worked with Eve for years.
Yes, so I worked with, and that's who I got the Emmy with, was working with Eve. I've worked with her for over 10 years.
Exactly.
She's more like my homegirl, my friend at this point, but we've had a lot of life together, a lot of, you know, experiences together, and she really believed in me. I can't wait for us to have like a discussion about just working with, you know, every client is not for you, but finding the client that is for you and building on that relationship.
Right.
I think Eve was a great example of that for me. And so, yeah, I've been on the show at the talk with Eve, and then Eve resigned during the pandemic. She wanted to stay in London. That's where she lives. And so I thought I was pretty much done like with that realm, and I really wanted to just focus on my e-commerce. But speaking of relationships, my guy Vernon Francois, he hit me up one day like, hey, like I want to connect you with Elaine. I think you would be a great hair person for her. I told her you were working with Eve there, so you're already familiar. What do you think? And so I was kind of like maybe, I don't know.
Like going back to television,
Going back
right?
to television, I kind of was like on the fence about it, and we can talk about that in a different, you know,
different
episode
setting.
too. Different setting, because it was a lot of pros and cons for me. And honestly, the way that Conscious Curls started to grow from the pandemic, I was really just like, this is what I need to put all of my focus into.
Right now. Exactly.
And so it was another pivot mentally for me to say, okay, I'll go back to set. But what I love about Elaine is she's a natural girl. You know, she wears color. That's what we focus on with Conscious Curls, is custom color and like, you know, not just being natural, but also expressing yourself with color hair. So she's that girl. And I just love how woke she is. I love what she talks about. I love, you know, how she gets right in front of the issues.
Wait. So let me ask you this. So everybody knows what's going on, right? Everybody knows. I don't know if any of you guys saw what's going on as far as the talk goes. And I know, Angela, you were there, so I'm not going to try to get too deep into the tea, but how is it? I know right now you guys are on hiatus.
Yeah.
So this was a big deal for the network and for the talk.
Yeah.
I know, you know.
I think the talk has been a very conservative show. It's been basically like the polar opposite of The View. So they don't really talk about hard-hitting topics. They really don't address race. They really don't address things that most people are dealing with. And so I think from the emergence of like, you know, everything started with like George Floyd and all the protests, and then COVID.
So wait, back up. What happened?
What happened?
I mean, can you say?
Oh, definitely.
So you were there actually on the set, combing the curl, you mid-stroke, and all I know I saw on camera was Sharon say to Cheryl, "You're crying. I should be the one crying." And I was like, "Shit, I was crying." No, I'm kidding.
Basically,
what happened?
It was a white privilege meltdown, if you ever could see one.
Lordy.
That's what it was. And
really? So how was everybody? What was what evoked it to get so steamy?
I don't think it had to be steamy. It didn't have to be steamy. I think that for some reason, people of privilege get more offended by being called a racist than actual racism. You know, I've never seen Sharon Osbourne get so angry about hearing about a black man get killed by a police officer. I've never heard her get angry about poverty. I've never heard her get angry about injustice in any way. So what's bizarre to me is that she willingly and voluntarily tweeted about how she stood by Piers Morgan and supported him so strongly and so publicly. That then she had to address it the next day about what her position was, because people were like, you know, slamming her, you know, after that tweet.
But what was it like being on set? Like,
so
you're there mid-stroke.
I did not think that it would become a heated discussion, because, you know, these are all women who know how to do television. They know how to have conversations. There have been conversations had, but the issue that I could feel and what I'm aware of is when you're not aware of your ignorance, you tend to say things and think it's okay. It's no reason why any white person of privilege should say, I'm not a racist, and that's all there is to it. Right. So in that moment, a person of color, especially a one that is informed, is going to say, well, we know you're not racist. However, this is what this is what the implication is when you stand by someone who is attacking the only black royal in the family, and this is what it feels like. And so in that conversation, Cheryl Underwood had to kind of like tread lightly, and that was so uncomfortable to watch. Because if Cheryl was not black, if the shoe was on the other foot, it wouldn't be so. She wouldn't have to be so polite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everybody talked about how she just really stood her crown. To me, that was just like a huge life-changing moment for her whole career. Because any other black woman would have neck rolled, finger twisted, Mike would have slapped. Like it could have been a lot of things that could have went down.
Real problematic. So I definitely, my hats off to Cheryl. She's so intelligent, she's so eloquent, but she's also a comedian, so she kind of knows how to tote the line of being silly but being serious. And in that moment, she was serious, and she was very thoughtful. She was crying because she was really hurt by the fact she was like, "You shouldn't be crying. I should be the one crying because y'all are calling me a racist." And they consistently said, and even Elaine, for some reason, they don't show any of what Elaine was saying, but honestly, she was basically saying, if you're going to support your friend, is there also room for you to hold your friend accountable for the things that have been said? Because she kept saying, I don't agree with him. He's my friend, so I'm just saying I support him. Right, but in that, can you hold your friends accountable? And then another portion, Elaine asks, well, is being a royalist the same as being a antebellum, like a person that celebrates like the antebellum in the Old South? Mm-hmm. And Mrs. O basically was saying, no, it's not the same. But why not? Why is it not the same? You prefer for things to be the way they were back in the day, which means that people of color were obviously getting the brunt of that. People of color were not allowed in certain spaces.
Just feel like her whole mindset
is very disconnected to the way people of color feel. And so if you're really screaming, educate me, how about you shut up and let the person talk?
How about you shut
up? How about you be quiet?
Right.
Like you're having a meltdown.
And not become a victim.
And so then everything that played out afterwards is so much victimization. Oh, there was a firing squad.
You guys are still not back at work. The team is not, you guys, the talk is not back.
But we are on paid hiatus.
All right.
Yeah, we paid. So that's what I'm thankful for, is being at a place where, okay, yeah, fine, you want to go under investigation. At least my coin is not stopping based on the actions of other people.
Right.
I have been having a tough week grappling with what I saw, how I feel, and wanting to be a part of something that I don't necessarily feel acknowledged in, as a woman of color, as a black woman. Like, I want to go to work and feel proud about where I'm at, and that we all respect each other and are walking on the same accord. And with that situation happening, I can't necessarily say I feel that type of protection.
Yeah.
I don't feel that, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling to have. Mm-hmm. But I'm hopeful that...
So investigation means they're challenging the delivery of the message that was... the narrative that was had on TV? Because what are you investigating?
Right,
the
it's
proof
clear
is right there.
I think more so what's going on that maybe led up to it. I think they're investigating the leadership. I honestly don't know. I think investigating might just mean buying time, honestly. Like, I have no idea what it actually means or what the outcome is going to be. But what I do know is that in other circumstances, when people lash out like that and show their true selves, they either get a suspension or they're fired. Right. So the fact that there has to be an investigation, it more so shows that they're trying to protect the asset of having Sharon Osbourne on the show. And that's still more important than the way that black and brown people feel about what she said and how she went about it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
I shouldn't be crying. You should be crying. That was my take. It was that for me.
It was that for everybody.
It
was even worse being there.
Yeah.
It's a lot you can do.
I saw you that day.
Yeah,
I saw you that day, and you were like really emotional.
I was emotional. I've talked to my friends about it and cried because it just is horrifying to see like a hierarchy of race play out in front of you
so closely.
Yes,
right.
And it's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah, you just stand there watching.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or trying to be a support system to my client who's really taking it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, at one point I walked out there when Sharon was having her fit, and I like really tried to become a barrier in front of Elaine.
Right.
Just to block out the amount of negativity and chaos.
Fury and anger
that was happening.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And even in that I had to be escorted back to my dressing room, back to the dressing room, because I was so frustrated after going out there. So you can imagine what other people felt like on set. It was, honestly, I don't want anybody to go through that, but it also made me aware of what we do go through as Black people today in 2021 that I was not necessarily aware of. Because you think LA is just, you know, it's so cultured and it's all mixed up and everybody loves everybody. And it's like, no, you see the hierarchy and you see the implicit bias and, you know, all of these racial norms that should not be norms playing out, and you're like, whoa. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm glad to have been taking this time off. I'm happy that we are on hiatus and it's paid. I was able to get some, you know, paperwork and stuff like that done, and it was perfect timing for this episode. You know.
And I know, and that leads us to, the whole thing I was thinking about when you were just telling me that too is about like relationships. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I think it's important to, you know, one, you got there through your relationship, but then it's also, one thing that people have to understand too is when you're on set, you really do have to know your place. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you are the hairstylist, but you know, and because you're working so closely with the talent, sometimes you can, you know, get so involved, right? Like how do you not get, because I know you get emotional about things.
I get emotional.
You get emotional, but you have to think, this is my relationship. I got to keep those things intact. I can't, like, you know, cross those lines too much. And you want to make sure your talent, because you don't want them to blow it either. You're like, let's all keep this.
So it's really, that's a good question. It's really important to like know, like you have to do hair, but then you also have to be mindful of how you want to encourage the talent to move. We're so important in the conversations that happen on
behind the scene, behind the camera.
We help them prep for what they're gonna say.
Yes.
We help get their mind ready for how they should feel, and
we
how
help
they
create the piece.
Exactly. Yeah. And there have been moments that I've had to basically extract sadness or negativity from a client
through your hands.
Yeah. And also doing self-work and really like things like yoga and breathing exercises and meditation and things like that, that comes into play when you're working with talent sometimes, because they can be so on edge. Yeah. They can be so on edge and so frustrated, and you have to find a way to like help minimize everything they're bringing from the outside world and help them focus on, okay, it's go time. Yeah. We need peace when you go out there, and you gotta get in your zone. Yeah. And that's what we're there for. In addition to creating and making them look beautiful, is making them feel good.
Yeah, we got a lot of responsibility.
It's a lot of pressure.
We got a lot of responsibility. Hey guys, I want to just circle back, and I want to just kind of bring the room back. So for all of you guys that have just joined this room, let me focus on who I'm talking to. So for all of you guys, I just want to make sure that you know what we are here for. It's Beauty Talks. We are talking about what? Some money, branding, and some relationships.
Building relationships.
Yes. And I think Angela just really talked about relationships and how important they are. For me, it's both sides. You know what I mean? Like, you had to be one role for the talent, but then also the relationship that actually got you the job. You rolled right over to another gig at the same network. And you guys, for those of you who don't know, when you're in a union, you want to keep those union jobs flowing because it keeps you in the union. You can also for being in the union, you get great insurance. Healthcare is the number one. I have a different story. I do not like television. I feel like I won those Emmys, I'm done. For me, it's a very monotonous place. And just, you know, being in the salon, I always feel like it's monotonous. Like, I'm not at the salon, on TV.
I felt the same way. And that's why I had to really reprogram my mind and say, okay, client going back, because I felt the same things you felt. And then it's like, I got an Emmy. It's like, if I never touch a comb and brush again, I'm still going to be an Emmy Award winning hairstylist. So let's move on. You know? And I was really like, e-commerce is where I'm at. But it was the client. It was the client, and
those are the things you have
it was
to
the
consider.
comfort because CBS is like right down the street from my house, so
Exactly.
not having to commute, knowing that I wanted to maintain my health insurance, those things were important. But when it comes from just a financial standpoint, or just from like, ooh, do I want to do this because I like it? Those answers I would probably have said no.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I agree 100% with you.
Those are the things that you really do have to consider before saying no.
Yeah.
But I want to circle this back. Again, we are here. Beauty talks, money, strategy, branding, relationships. Like I'm adding words, but we're gonna talk about all of that. And this first woman that we want to bring on is Miss Business 101. She kind of came into my cipher just really looking through the feeds, and I just saw business because right now I've been telling you, like over the last 3 years for me, it really, I would probably say 4 years, because 2020 just flew by. Like I don't even remember 2020.
Came and went.
And thank God, one, I was able to survive 2020. That's what I think that year is called, surviving 2020.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a bad year for me. I know a lot of people had that narrative, like it was bad. It was a bad year, but it definitely was a year to that forced me to pivot
and
reset, and also just take another closer look at my finances and how I had to rearrange so many things. And I stumbled across Miss Business, and I brought her here because I thought that she could just give us some 101.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's one of the guests that we're going to have a little bit later, but this woman right here that's coming up is Keisha. Keisha is one of your women that you brought on today.
And I stumbled upon her too because I was looking for someone who had a knowledge and a specialty in beauty. And that was one of her, on her website, it was on one of the pages. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. And the fact that she's a Black woman, who really understands how to work with freelancers. And also she has a specialty in real estate, which is very important. And we just talked, and she was like, I understand how freelancers have to do things, and so I have a lot to bring to the conversation. She also does a lot of Clubhouses, so she's very familiar with this space, and I was just like, oh my God, this is going to be perfect. Like, I need your insight.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's bring her up. The first guest is Miss Business 101. So can we bring her to the room, Miss Freya?
She's up. Hello.
All right.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? Well, first, I'm going to let you go. We gave you a great intro. So
You guys did.
we gave you a great intro. So now I think you should just tell us who you are and give us some good stuff.
Yes. So my name is Shaquana. I go by Miss Business across all platforms. I started my career out Big Four accounting firm 10 years ago, just really wanting to understand, got into accounting because I really, really wanted to understand what was happening behind the scenes. How are these corporations making these moves? My dad grew up in a small business, so I knew things from a small business perspective, but I wanted to really understand what was happening from a corporate perspective. So spent my time there, started out in mutual funds. For those of you who don't know what mutual funds is, it's really the investment vehicle that 401ks invest in. So then from there, I got kind of bored with it, and then I transferred over to real estate, private equity, which I stayed there for about 4.5 years out of the 7 years that I was that I stayed in Big Four. I decided 3 years ago that I was going to start my own tax and accounting company, Brooks Alliance, which primarily caters to small businesses, freelancers, entrepreneurs, real estate investors, really just trying to help navigate the tax side of things. I felt that a few years ago, and all the time, there's always so much emphasis put on how can we make money? Let's make money, make this money. But no one was talking about how they were going to keep this money after Uncle Sam taxed it. And so,
wow.
I like to always say, it's like the IRS is like your silent partner in your business. And so, you really have to think about those things, but no one was having this conversation about taxes. So I definitely wanted to make sure that taxes was a part of the conversation. So I decided to start this business, really just wanting to educate and make taxes a part of the conversation. crazy idea when people, I was like, no one's going to really care about taxes, but I have to find a way to make them care about taxes.
Yes.
A lot of people care about taxes.
Especially after they get hit, okay?
Yes, because I think both of us, Angela and I, basically, we got some real stories. I know I got hit. Like, I'm talking, when I first started doing hair as a hairstylist, I really didn't know any better. I had no financial literacy at all, and I was just winging it. And I also was making a lot of cash money. And I just didn't know anything about taxes. You know what I mean? It's not that I didn't know about it. I heard about taxes, but the money was so good, I never focused on paying the taxes.
Right.
And lo and behold, years later, of course, I got a lien. And I think, I was talking to Angela about it. She was like, I did too.
Yes, I got had my wages garnished. I was looking at that check like $14. Where's the rest of my money?
Exactly. So we can totally relate. I want to start with asking you a question. I'm going to go right in. This is probably my first question. What can you tell stylists who get paid through Cash App? Because I think a lot of people think that Cash App is cash. And I don't think that they understand that you still have to pay taxes on it. They get their tips through Cash App. They're paying for their services through Cash App. Can you tell us a little bit about this whole Cash App thing, or Venmo or Zelle or any of these cash apps as it relates to the beauty industry?
Yes. So, Cash App, Venmo, if you are collecting your payments like that, you should stop. Unless you have a business Cash App account. Because what happens
Okay.
is that
I just want to make sure that it's still
the
recording.
IRS,
Is it?
I think it should be still recording.
Angela, is it?
right, based on certain things, right? They may have certain information that's reported to them, certain things, certain income that they may know about, or even just your bank deposits that they may know about. And what they will do is, if you're getting Cash App isn't a form of, not yet, right? The IRS has
It's
a lot
not?
catching up to do.
Did you want your food?
Cash App isn't seen as a form of a way that you should be paying for services.
We gotta
or a
have
way
it. We
that
have to have
you should be
audio.
accepting money
Does she- her phone?
from your business, because technically you all
You have to have it, babe. Whatever we gotta do, we gotta have audio.
operating. If you haven't actually officially
Oh,
registered,
because we're mic'd up with his.
your business, then you are still operating as a contractor, which means you're operating as a business. So then, by taking Cash Apps under your personal account
Can you hear it?
and then paying for things under your personal account, you're then putting yourself in a really, really, really bad situation, because then once they start estimating this income, one, you have to prove the income. And then if you have nothing flowing through but Cash App, and they're going to say, okay, well, that isn't acceptable, then you can't really recognize that. And then if you have expenses that you're paying off that's supposed to offset your income, then guess what? They're not going to recognize those expenses. So now you're just really putting yourself in a really bad position. So Zelle, if it's connected to your business account, right? So I guess for me, what I really want stylists to take out of this is, you are a business and you should operate like it.
Yeah.
Right? So you should register a business. You should open up a business bank account. If you do have Zelle, your Zelle payment should be going to your business bank account. If you do have Cash App, you should open up a business Cash App, right? Because it's very important for you to track your income, but it's way more important for you to track your expenses. And that's the hard part, and that's where people get caught up the most.
So wait, let me ask you a question.
You're on mute.
Okay.
Oh, no, you're not.
So let me ask you a question. So what you're basically saying is, we should have a separate credit card that has, because this is something that I started doing too, a separate card that is only for your business expenses, connected to your Zelle account, to make it easier if you want to use a Cash App, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so Cash App has personal accounts, and they also have business accounts.
Okay.
So if you are operating under, a business account, then if you're operating your business through Cash App, then what you should do is open up a business Cash App. So that way, it's now tied to your business name and your business EIN. Oh, and so that way, all the income that's coming in, it's being recorded. And then when you're paying, for these services, and you're paying vendors, or you're paying for supplies, those things, you now can legitimately write those things off, because now everything is flowing.
And you have it on record too,
Right.
on the exactly, and you don't have to worry about receipts.
No.
That was the number one thing, like receipts.
You always have to worry about receipts.
I mean, yeah. I meant to say you don't have to worry about keeping every single receipt. It's already recorded on the
business
on your statement.
On your statement, yeah.
Right.
Expenses and your
on your statement, but the IRS still requires you to have receipts.
Got it. Okay.
Really?
So in order for
in case you get an audit.
If you ever get audited and they want proof, they're gonna want to see your bank records. They're also gonna want to see your receipts. You know, they want to see everything. They don't want to just see like your bank statement. They want to see your bank statement and the receipt to go with it. So what I do is I take pictures of my receipts. Like if I go out to dinner or I go to the gas station, I take pictures because my purse at one point was looking crazy because I'm like always on the go. So I get a receipt, I throw it in my bag, right? And then it crumbles, it fades, I can't find it. And I was like, okay, no, you have to do better. So I just take pictures of my receipts, and it just makes it super easy. Like I created a folder on my phone, and so every time I go to eat,
I don't want to hold the phone. I want to put it down.
Angela,
you probably want to sit back a little bit because you like this. You want to get more cozy in it.
That is such good advice, because I thought just because I have it all going from my business account that I didn't need the receipt. So now going into this next tax year, I got to make sure that I keep the receipt too. So taking a picture, that's probably like clutch. Like that's probably one of the best pieces of advice I've gotten already.
They have apps.
Yeah. Oh, they have apps that do that?
Mm-hmm. They have apps that once you put the receipt in, it records it, and it definitely, we have this now. It records everything, so we don't really have to worry about holding onto the receipt. Snap trash. Super simple. All right, guys, did you guys get that? Write this down.
Write it down.
That's a really, really, really good one. I love that because I think people really do not understand. A lot of these stylists out here do not understand. They just think you can get paid through Cash App. And I try to tell all of my clients, I'm like, look, like, if you guys can pay our tips in cash, that's really what we would appreciate so much. Cash tips are great.
Miss Business, I have a question. I guess this is a broader one though, but what is it that you feel like beauty pros or people in the industry, entrepreneurial people, always tend to like neglect when it comes to doing their taxes or thinking about tax season? What is there that you always feel like we just don't pay attention to?
your bookkeeping.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's enough emphasis put on, because one, I feel like, you all are creatives, right?
Yep.
And so what I know is that if you are a very creative person, you want to create. That's what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times the business side falls, kind of to the wayside, because you're so consumed with creating and working and, building your business. And so I do think that there's not a lot of focus on the bookkeeping side of it, as mm-hmm. well as establishing a business. I do equally believe that it's both that are neglected a lot of the times.
And let me ask you another question. I think something that people don't really know. Let's say you're just getting your business started. What are the first 3 things you need as a new, young, older, whichever aspiring entrepreneur, businesswoman? You're about to start your business. What are the first 3 things you would advise us to do? We got the business, we got the business name, we might have even filed our trademarks, we've done that. What's the next steps that are like detrimental to our business?
Next 3 steps, I would say actually registering your business, because that's key. Really consulting with an accountant, just to determine what entity type is best for you. Yeah. Because an LLC is not best for everyone.
Got it.
I call it the popular entity type, because, everyone goes to LLCs, but, there's S-Corps, there's corporations. What makes sense for you? And everything, it doesn't make sense. Just because, one person does it, that doesn't mean that it's the correct thing for the next person.
Got it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I think the next thing even though it's super basic, is to open up a business bank account. I had a lot of my beauty clients this year just with all of the PPPs and the EIDLs and all of those things. So just with the EIDLs and the PPPs, they just didn't qualify because...
Yes, let's talk about that. Why didn't they qualify?
They didn't have their business registered. They didn't really have any documentation. And because they were, let's say doing Cash App or cash mostly, they didn't really have a lot of records. And so I think that it's important to get a business bank account and really operate out of your business bank account from an income perspective as well as from, your expenses. So I think that is really important. And I think the third one is really building your team. It's so important because, again, my clients that I encounter in the beauty profession, I'm going to be very honest, most of the time I get them when they have an aha moment, not in the beginning. And it may be a situation where they may either have been contacted by the IRS, or they may have, or maybe they want to purchase a home. That's where I encounter them a lot. And it's important, right? If you want to get assets, or you want to purchase a home, or you want to invest, and you want to do things that's really going to propel you in the future, you have to have your finances in order and your tax documents, together. And so I think just building your team from lenders to bankers to lawyers to accountants, again, you all are businesses. And so it's important to just build your team to make sure that all these people can come together when it's time for you to do whatever it is that you need to do, that you have the right people that you can call.
You are so right. And you know what? I really learned that personally. Right during COVID, it was very intentional about starting a relationship with my banker out here in LA, City National Bank. And it was so valuable. When I tell you, when PPP time came, it was so valuable because it was so smooth sailing, you know what I mean? As far as the paperwork, if there were certain questions that needed to be answered, she answered those questions, or she shot me an email. And then of course, I've always had a bookkeeper. Like when you are on the road, spending endless hours on the road, days, months, I was screwing up. That's why I messed up with my taxes. I didn't have anybody. I literally lived on the road for 15 years, probably 12 years. I was living out of a tour bus on the road, and my finances, I was making so much money, but I was screwing up everything. And, like I said, these last 4 years, I made a conscious effort, and I just started a relationship with my banker. So when the time came and the portal opened, she was informing me every step of the way. So that is something that I think that you mentioned and touched on, having relationships with your banker. I'm going to just say, just start there. And I think people think it's so expensive to have all these things that you're talking about. But I think a bookkeeper is someone that you need to have. And I definitely think you need to have a relationship with your banker. So those are really some good starting points. Like just walk into the bank. I know money is something that we all hate dealing with, but I know because I do. So when I have to meet with the accountant, it's like torture.
I know.
And I'm just like, oh my God, either I'm gonna feel bubble guts. I'm gonna feel like, oh my God, I don't want her to tell me about these numbers. I don't want to hear about pull back on the spending. I'm like, oh my God, but it's the conversations that you have to have.
Have to.
So creating that relationship with your banker, guys, like tomorrow, get out there and meet your banker, no matter what. COVID should have totally gave you a huge wake up call on like, it would just make your situation so easier, and having a bookkeeper, because that all those damn paperworks, I didn't know what the hell they were asking for. So thank you for that. Thank you so much.
I have a question. I wanted to know if you could just tell us how important is it, and when should we start to establish business credit, and how do we go about doing that?
So I think that you should have business credit at the top of your mind when you first decide to start operating, because it's just like building your personal credit, where you have to build it, over time. You have in different relationships with certain businesses. That is super important. Now, I'm going to just give you, I don't build business credit for businesses, but I can give you exactly what I did to build my business credit. And so to build your business credit, the first thing that you should do is when you're registering your business, make sure that your business is registered to an actual like a brick and mortar address, right? So a lot of people will use their home address. And so what happens when you do that and you register your business and you're providing lenders with your home address opposed to, an actual brick and mortar, is that they may deny you for loans. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that, when you're registering your business, that you're registering your business, or if you've already registered your business, that you go ahead and update it to an actual brick and mortar. And there are virtual offices where they will allow you to use their address. That's what I did before I had a brick and mortar. I just got a virtual address, and so I used their address. And so make sure that you do that. Make sure that your business is listed. Make sure you have a website. So, sorry, when I say make sure your business is listed, meaning like in the yellow pages, that it is searchable online.
Are there still yellow pages?
There is a yellow pages, but it's
That's
online.
crazy.
It's not like
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
Like,
I was like,
still have the
what?
yellow pages, girl? I was like, girl, where the yellow pages at?
They pivoted, though. They pivoted. That's good.
So make sure that you do that.
You're so right, because I went and set up another business recently, and is that where you go and you set it up locally and you get a big business fictitious name? Is that what that is? Is that what the...
No, I don't necessarily. That may be, were you doing like a DBA?
Yes.
Yes. So that's done at the county. So this is just more online. And so the idea of all of this is just to make sure that your business has an actual, basically you want to look like you're an actual business, right? So by doing all these things, making sure that like you have a actual telephone number listed and a website, and that your office is, your address is an actual location, things like that. When lenders, it just builds confidence in your lenders, right? So they can say, okay, well, this person is actually operating an actual business. Another thing that you want to do, especially before you have established business credit, is get some trade lines with certain businesses. So that could be Home Depot, that can be Staples or Quill.com, or
But does that mean you're adding more? But does that mean you're adding more credit to your credit report?
No. So everything is done strictly on your business side. So these things should not be shown. Well, will not show up on your personal side at all.
Got
And
it.
trade lines is more so like I'll order something from you, and then I have to pay you back based on the terms. So like, let's say for instance, my gas card, I have like a 7-day trade line with them. So I have to pay my bill every 7 days. With Quill.com, that's more so like supplies. I have to pay them every 30 days. Right. So basically what they do is they report to Dun & Bradstreet, which I totally skipped over, so I'll go back to that. But they report to Dun & Bradstreet and say, hey, this person made their payments on time. So now you're building your credit history for your credit report. And so everyone does need a DUNS number. It is free to get. You can just go right on Dun & Bradstreet and get the Dun & Bradstreet number. So that's important. That's what really tracks your business credit. And so that those things right there will kind of set you up to kind of have your business credit. And so as long as you're making your payments on time, you'll be fine. Like I purchased my vehicle in my business name, and I was able to do that. And I simply, like, I'd never had a really like huge loan, but they were able to see that my business had some sort of, history with paying my bills on time. And so with my vehicle that I purchased under my business name, I did have to go in as a co-owner. But the only reason why I had to go in as a co-owner is because my business never had a loan of that size, but they still did allow my business to go on the loan. Me to go on the loan with my business.
And so you recommend that you get your car you can get your car under your business credit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Nice.
You guys got that? Get your pen and paper.
She's dropping all kind of gems today.
That's really good.
Yes.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And this really is a good transition for Keisha.
Yes.
And she also is in the tax space and tax planning, tax services. Both of these ladies are like diamond droppers. All right. And this is someone that Angela brought to the table. Tell us, what piqued your interest?
So I was just searching. I'm like, I know I want to find a pro. I want somebody who specializes in beauty. And I started looking and I found her website and I was just like, oh my God, like I love how she's laying it all out for people in the industry, publicists, beauty professionals, people who are in real estate, freelancers in general, and she just had everything there. I was like, oh my God, I have to reach out to her. She hit me back right away.
Right.
And now we're here. So Keisha, welcome to the conversation. We're so excited to have you. Please give us even more of an intro on who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Good evening, ladies. I do appreciate you having me here. I've enjoyed the conversation so far. There have been so many gems that have been dropped. So I hope you ladies have had your pencil and your paper because a lot of information has been given. I'm hoping that I can actually add a lot to that as well too. But a little bit about myself. My name is Keisha Rondino. I am currently located in Houston, Texas. I am a tax strategist, a tax coach, and I specialize in working with businesses, beauty businesses, with tax compliance, tax planning, and tax preparation. So my goal really is to make sure that you're being tax compliant with the IRS and that you have overall clarity within your business. Because as a creative, you are absolutely running a business, and the only way to really grow your business is to have that clarity and to make sure that you're being compliant and that you're not overpaying the government. So that is a little bit about myself. I am the owner operator of a CPA firm here in Houston. I have a team of about 5 people. Well, not about, I have a team of 5 people, and I really enjoy working with creatives because I get a chance to see a different side of business for the most part, because creatives are very different than anyone else, any other industry.
And why do you think that is? Is it because of why do you think that is?
Well, I think because one of the reasons that there is because you're very structured and dedicated to what it is that you do in your business, and so your goal is to, as you guys in the beauty space, your goal is to make everyone else fabulous. Your goal is to do what it is that you love. So when it comes to the accounting piece, when it comes to the taxation piece, it's usually on the back burner.
Definitely.
Always on the back burner.
All the way back. the furthest burner.
I always be like, hairstylists don't like science and numbers.
We like counting money, but we don't like counting how much we got to give away.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So by the time you guys come to people like myself, it is because you need the help, because you realize that, okay, I am well over my head. I'm not really sure what's going on in my business. I really want it to grow. I really want to take it to the next step, the next level, but I just don't know the steps. I just don't know where to start.
So I know the first question I have for you is, what is the difference? Because in your title, you say tax planning, tax services, and tax compliance. I know what tax compliance is, but what's the difference between tax services and tax planning? Like, what's the difference? I thought that was like all one bundle.
Right.
It's absolutely not. So first, I'll start with tax preparation. So when we're doing tax preparation, we focus on reporting to the IRS the events that has taken place the previous year. So you have operated your business, you've generated income, you've spent certain amounts of money that's going to be included as expenses, and they're going to be deductions. We're going to reporting all that activity to the IRS. That is tax preparation. Well, when we move into tax planning is being more proactive. Tax preparation is retroactive. Tax planning is proactive. So that is where we're identifying strategies to implement into your business to where you will generate the least amount of taxes. Because once you've already operated and once you've already done all of the work the previous year, it's very hard to go back and identify tax savings. There are strategies that can be implemented after the fact, but the majority of your real tax savings and how you're going to save money is going to be beyond deductions. It's going to be more implementing those strategies to where you're going to be operating to where you're generating the least amount of money. I'm sorry, you're generating the least amount in taxes, excuse me. So that's where tax planning comes in. And then we have tax compliance. And so that's basically if you receive a letter from the IRS indicating that they are reviewing a number that you may have reported on your tax return, or you're being audited for information that has been reported, that's more tax compliance and resolution. So those are three very different events, and they may be done together, but not necessarily at the same time.
Got it. So, and when people come to you, they would typically be coming because it's tax season, correct?
That's where it starts at. So unless someone has not filed, if it's beyond tax season and they have not filed their taxes and they know, okay, I need to file my taxes for whatever reason, yes, that is where it would initially start. Or they realize that, hey, I'm spending too much money in taxes. I'm working with someone, but they're not very clear on, or I'm not very clear on what I can do in order to minimize my taxes for the next year.
Exactly. That happened to me.
Yeah, me too.
This past year, I'm going to jump in on that point right there because it's a really good point. I had, as a hairstylist, I was developing a product line. And one of the things I went to my accountant and I was getting pulled in like with all the other clients, meaning I feel like and I don't know if you can agree with this, Keisha, is every I would say business, occupation, it's all different levels of taxes that fall into different brackets. And one thing that I learned and discovered, I raised the question like, hey, how can I save more money in taxes? I'm bringing all this money, but how can I save more? I need to save more. And I really forced them, my bookkeepers, they specialize in taxes, but they're bookkeepers. I'm like, how can we dig a little bit deeper? And they found a research and development credit, which is an R&D credit that saved me like almost $10,000 on my taxes. And if I hadn't have mentioned it, I would have never known. So I like the fact that when I hear, people like yourself, Miss Business 101, and yourself, Keisha, I love when I hear you guys, talk about like you guys took some special attention and gave it to the beauty pros, the consultants, and people in our industry, because as we said before, I think we really do lack so much financial literacy.
Yes.
And we just need, more of you guys in every state. So we have Miss Business 101 out of New York, Brooklyn, New York, with her firm. You guys should be sure to check her out. And Keisha, she has a firm in Houston. Is it Houston?
Yes, it is.
And Houston. So you guys make sure you hit them in the DM, reach out to them. And, Miss Business 101, I asked her a little bit about this whole, are you having clients that are getting paid through Cash App? Like, that is something I want to just keep on bringing that back, because everybody is getting paid through Cash App.
Through Cash App. And Venmo.
Venmo, and Zelle. And I think that they think that they're just exchanging cash. Can you give us your 2 cents on that? I'm sure you heard Miss Business 101 talk about that, but what's your take on that too?
I don't think I had chimed in quite yet if that had been discussed before, but I always advise clients that Cash App is not necessarily the way that you want to receive. So you want to use a platform that has a business model to it. And so that would be something on the lines of Square. Square it is for business use. PayPal, that is for business use. So you can set up your business and your business account using those platforms. what will happen is that they will absolutely track it for your business. And at the end of the year, where they will track all the income, the cash that you receive through the app, and they will send you a 1099K form.
And that's the other thing. People don't realize you got to get those 1099s out, people.
So once you receive your the issue with Venmo or Cash App is that they're more personalized platforms, and so they're not going to provide you with a 1099K because it's not considered for business use.
Right.
So report that on your tax filing. If the IRS comes back and they would like you to verify that information, if you show them that it has been generated through Cash App, they're going to wonder if you're going to question, well, how do we know this was actually for business use?
So you can't justify it.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Because this is a personal application that you're utilizing it for. How do we know someone is just not sharing money with you because for not necessarily for goods or services, just maybe because you're a friend or family? And so that's something you have to be aware of, so I usually will recommend that you do not accept Cash App. Unless Cash App has a business platform to it, or these different apps. If there's a business platform, then absolutely, because it is being tracked, and you are going to receive that 1099K at the end of the year.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
We can't stress that enough, because I think everybody is moved on to the electric transfers, and they're just like, oh yeah, it's just moving money around. But it's like, you have to do it in a way that still shows up.
It's accountability.
Accountability.
Every dollar.
Speaking of accountability, I wanted to introduce Maud to the room. She has an app that really helps for business professionals, beauty professionals specifically, to really track their expenses, stay on point with, their budgeting, their payments, all that kind of stuff. So I want to welcome Maud, and she could tell us more about her app, because I'm so excited to share it. Hey, Maud.
Oh, hey, Angela. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much. Great conversation. Definitely a lot of gems dropped, and I think even some of the points that were made, I know they were also talking about how you need to get your team together, whether it's a CPA, a bookkeeper. But one of the things I just wanted to reiterate is that those are all deductible, right? So when you're getting this team together and looking to, build your business and to do it right, I even think, keep me honest here, like your registration is a tax deductible item as well. Like you register your business, right? So all of these things that you're doing to set yourself up to be a better business person, like you're actually incentivized to do that. Like those are all things that can be deducted, which is great. And just to speak to what Angela was talking about, with just our experience of working with a lot of beauty professionals, we were just trying to find an easy way to help with bookkeeping, right? Where you can, it's a point that was made earlier, take a picture of your receipt. It not only scans that receipt, but it also stores it, right, for you for the whole entire year. And then from there, you just hit one button and you can send it to whomever, your accountant, your partner, if you're doing, joint tax filing, whatever it may be, but just making it easy for you to actually track your expenses, just given some of the feedback today around the importance of tracking your expenses and being able to have, a reference. So, not keeping receipts in the purse or not keeping it in the shoebox or not creating necessarily an Excel sheet. This actually does all of that for you, and it was built for beauty professionals in mind. So when you go to categorize your expenses, it's usually stuff that is associated with beauty professionals. So again, we are just trying to make it much easier for beauty professionals because we get it. We get how daunting it is. And yeah, that's where beauty expense came from, and we're excited to share more on it.
Exactly. Let me see if there's anybody. Let's reset everybody. So we are here with myself and Angela Styles. It's all about beauty talks, talking about money, branding, relationships, all of that good stuff. Get your pens, get your paper, and it's tax season.
Yeah.
So real talk, I think this is a very important topic that we need to touch on. And some of these questions are questions that I've had, especially about this whole Cash App thing. And I want anybody in that room out there who has any questions, please feel free to ask them now. Any of these ladies will answer any questions that you guys have.
I know taxes can be very uncomfortable sometimes to talk about. I know, like how you said, when it's time to go talk to your accountant, you're like, like I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But we have some really amazing professionals in the room. So I just want to thank you guys again for being here. Keisha, I want to bring it back to you, and I just want to get more insight on things that we can do to prepare ourselves for when we do come and sit down with you. Like, what is it that you need from us, like, when we sit down? Like, how can we better organize ourselves to make your job as easy as possible?
Mm-hmm.
So, usually, you need to have your bookkeeping and accounting in order. And so, depending on where you are with your business, a formal accounting system, whether it's QuickBooks, Wave, Bench, FreshBooks, there's quite a few out there that absolutely works for you. Or even if you're not to the point to where you want to invest in an actual formal accounting system, if you're just using a spreadsheet where you are tracking your income and you're tracking your expenses, the goal is to make sure that you're actually utilizing it. Whatever it is that you decide that you're going to use in order to track, you just need to make sure that you are consistent with it. Because one of the worst things that everyone will say is that you have not done it throughout the year. When the end of the year comes and you're trying to gather all of your information to take to your accountant or to your tax preparer, you're trying to remember all the activities that took place, everything that you spent money on, and you can't remember what has taken place 7, 8, 9 months ago.
Right.
So you end up not tracking it, and then you in turn not end up getting the benefit of the deduction because you don't know what the expense is.
Exactly, because you can't remember.
What I always recommend is to have some type of system in place. Whether it is going to be an Excel spreadsheet at the very minimum, it may be tedious, but it works, and it will save you so much time and so much heartache at the end of the year. In an ideal world, you would want to have something electronic, something in the cloud to where you can access it through your phone and access it through your computer. If you're not there yet, Excel spreadsheets are fine. Just utilize something.
Wow. So Miss Business, you're there too. Let me ask you, what are some like basic, like, because some people don't even have, like, I think we come to you guys for that reason. Like, we don't have the knowledge. We don't even know where to begin. Like, we typically, like you said that early on, people come to you when things have already fallen apart. So you guys kind of come in and fix the pieces. I think that is when I got that lean, that was when I was like, oh, let me get this thing really together.
Same, girl, same.
Like,
when they started pulling money out of my account, I said, wait a minute.
Hold up. And I think that's what a lot of people experience. So great question too, Angela. Like, what do we need before we come and sit in the chair? But I lost my train of thought. Gosh, I was asking her a
So
question.
I think you were just asking, like, what should, like, you know, some people are not aware of what they should be doing, or what
where do we start? Like, how do we even start to find? Yeah.
Even if you don't have, let's say, a QuickBooks, or, you know.
I think QuickBooks really confuses me. When I look at QuickBooks, I'm stressed out.
Yeah.
I'm stressed out when I looked at QuickBooks. I'm like, oh my God, it's too many things, too many numbers, too much. It's all over the place. What the hell?
So my accountant, she set up my QuickBooks because I was like,
too.
I'm not doing it. So she has access to it, and she knows. She's like, okay, this person, who is this person that you pay? Like, she knows beforehand, like, as soon as something happens, she's hitting me up like, okay, are you going to send them a W-9 or whatever the form is? Like,
Right.
Because I wasn't going to do that for myself. And I know a lot of people out there, a lot of beauty pros don't even have a business account, let alone how to set up a QuickBooks. So we do want to make it super simple. Like, we need
and you may even be repeating something she said already.
Right.
But just give us those 101, like, first, like, I know people come to you with all type of scenarios, but just help us get to the door.
So I think that it's so important that, you know, something is in place. Ideally, like Keisha was saying, ideally, yes, it would be in a cloud and it would be some sort of bookkeeping software. But if just at minimum you have an Excel spreadsheet, that is super important. You have to have some sort of record and some sort of way to track your expenses. However, I do have a lot of clients who in the beginning, you all are like, oh my God, QuickBooks hurts my head. I don't know what to do. I don't want to deal with it. And then they will try to just track their expenses using Excel. However, the issue with that is that Excel requires you to go in and maintain it. Right. And if you are not consistent or, committed to doing it, then what happens is you lose track. And again, you all are creatives. You don't want to sit down with bank statements and all this other stuff, to sit there and make sure that you're recording it. So I do think at minimum there should at least be an Excel spreadsheet, but I also believe that we are all, we all can learn anything that we put our mind to. And so, just how Angela just said, listen, my accountant set up my QuickBooks. Find the people. You do not need to know everything. You just need to be smart enough to hire the right people. And so if you, for me, a lot of things, I'm just like, you only can have that excuse for but so long where you're just like, okay, I'm not going to deal with it versus I'm going to pay the right people so that they can do what I need done, right? Because you have to have those records in order for your business to grow. You need to see where your money is going. You need to see if there's a way that you can cut back or a way that you can help, excel and accelerate your business. So, you definitely have to be able to, have your books together. So, beginning, it's okay to get some sort of bookkeeping software or a bookkeeper, right? Some people, some things I don't want to deal with at all. No matter, I don't care how little it is. If it's going to take my focus away from me growing my business, it's worth me paying someone. So you may not want to do it, but you may just need to hire somebody to do it,
And so I have a question for either one of you, either Keisha or Ms. Biz. I want to know, because I've had situations where I thought I had somebody who really knew what they were doing, and it turns out they didn't. And then I had to have somebody else clean it up. How can you feel confident about hiring the right type of CPA who is going to know what to do? Like, what are some things we should look for? And then also, what is the price range for a really good CPA? And like, how much should we set in our minds to know to budget for that?
Mm-hmm. Get a bite. That's fun. And you guys, look, I would love to hear from everybody up on here in the stage who want to expand on that one, because, picking the right accountant is like, it's a big deal. And I always like people that really do have an understanding of beauty. Like, you got to understand a little bit of beauty in order to really help me. But I'm sure everybody on this call is not just beauty. I think it's a lot of consultants, period. Just people who consult or freelance with certain jobs, How do you pick the right, person,
Right. So I think that you can be that is the one thing that I will start off by saying. Your experience may be better than someone else's, just depending on what the situation is. But you want to, at least at the minimum, be able to see what their credentials are, and not necessarily saying that everyone that is credentialed are going to be great at what they do, because all professionals are going to be different. But if you can go to their website and see the type of work that they do, see if they have any reviews, if they have any type of social media, maybe the information that they may post, that they may, they may put out there, if it's something that you think you may benefit from. It may be also beneficial. What I always recommend is scheduling a consultation with them, 15 minutes, a half an hour. Schedule time with them to actually speak to them, to see the type of work that they do, to see what they can do in order to help you. Because a lot of information is very general. And so you want to make sure that the person that you work with is going to be a great fit for you, and that they can help you with the things that you need to be done. Not just that they're just great at what they do. They need to be great at what you need them for. And so conversation with them, whether it's a 15, 20, 30-minute consultation with them to see what they specialize in and to see what they can absolutely do to help you. That would be one of the first things that I would recommend, because then you can see whether they would be a good fit for you just on the forefront.
Yeah. I agree with that for sure.
I definitely agree. You definitely need to consult. I think a few things that I see gain a lot of clients from is that I also think definitely have a consultation, get an understanding, ask the questions that you need to ask, and then also get an understanding of approach. Right? So Keisha and I, we have very similar strategies in terms of how we approach taxes. That's more from a strategy perspective, where we're willing to have a conversation with you throughout the year to make sure that you are saving on taxes. That's important when you are a business, right? Because you have to realize that, you can't just talk to your CPA or whoever's doing your taxes January through April. That's for people that have W-2s. The taxes has already been set aside for them. They are getting the forms that they need in the mail. Everything is all packaged and pretty. There may not be as much strategy or conversation that may be needed as, let's say a stylist or a contractor or a freelancer. And so I think that's one, it's very important. Don't hire anybody that just works January through April.
That's such a good point.
That's a great point.
So that is important. And I think it's also important to work with someone who has a team. I think that it's important because I get so many clients where they're just like, my accountant, I can't reach them. And the reality is, we're all just one person, right? And I'm sure in your fields, we're all in this service-based business, right? So you only have, 2 hands, 2 ears. You only could, cater to one client at a time. And so the issue becomes when you have tax season here, and then you have, all these clients reaching out to you because, again, everyone wants to get their taxes done. Then there becomes a lot of miscommunication. So now you have a business that you need your taxes filed, or you have questions, and you can't really get in contact with them. And so that's super important as well, where I know a lot of people, especially in the space that we're in, when we meet people on social media, we're like, oh, we want to just work with them. We want to just talk to them. But the reality is, if that person doesn't have a team or some sort of support or help behind them, you're going to run into an issue because, if they plan to expand their business, then they're going to be so busy and not be able to cater to you and give you the service that you need. So I think that is super important, on top of all of the things that Keisha had already said.
Exactly. Anybody have any questions out there? It's so much great knowledge. I know someone out there has a question. So if you do, please feel free to raise your hand. We'll bring you up and you can, get some good information. It's tax time, and I know I had questions. My number one was about that Cash App. That is like the number one thing.
One question.
Yes.
Is that, isn't it that taxes are supposed to be paid quarterly? Like from a freelance, I know it doesn't happen often, but technically, isn't that how it's supposed to work?
Yes, we pay taxes
quarterly.
Yeah, because I've seen it mixed different ways. And the reason why I bring that up is that technically, if it's paid quarterly, I think to the point that was made by Shaquana earlier, is that, this January to April accountant is for sure not what you need, because technically you should be paying it quarterly, right? Yeah. So therefore you should be in touch with your accountant at least, sort of four times a year, touching base. So that's something to think about, because I think a lot of folks may know that, and I think some folks are not aware, right. And then just kind of group it all at the end. So I just wanted to bring that point up.
Yeah, that is a good
Such
point.
a great point.
One of the things that I wanted to bring up too is I asked my bookkeeper to give me a bi-weekly statement. And I asked for a monthly profit and loss, because to tend to the business once every quarter, to me, I was I done forgot about last month. I done forgot about all those little minute details that I needed to tend to. So having that quarterly I get mine bi-weekly. Like, I don't care what, I need it bi-weekly. I need to see what's going on. I'm a little bit more of a high maintenance client. I have several companies and all these different entities. So I need to see, where does the money reside?
Hello.
Where is it? Because I'm having money. My money is so diversified. It's coming from so many different places. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
So you want to see, like, on your statement, oh, this week you brought in this, oh, and this is who we paid out. And you won't even know those things if you don't see it often. So, and and no disrespect to the accountants out there, it's also to just kind of check up on what's going on.
Right.
With your finances, because everybody makes mistakes. You know what I mean? So I think it's something that, for me, my tip was, I've had accountants, bookkeepers, literally for like 15 years, and everybody works very differently. But I find that, getting that monthly and bi-weekly statement just to refresh my accounting, it's very helpful for me. I think we got a few questions out here in the world. So we want to bring them to the stage. Who? Who? Tamada.
Yes. Hi. Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
My name's Tamada. Thank you all so much for having this room and bringing me up. So I am the founder and CEO of Braid Kit, which is a bi-monthly subscription box. So I'm new to business. I started August of 2020, and I just met with my tax professional, and we filed the taxes and everything. And I just had a question about, I think it was Keisha that said, that said, meet with them more than once a year. And I just wanted to ask, like, what types of conversations would you want to have with your tax professional, or what types of requests would you ask from them when you're meeting with them more than once a year? Because I'm sitting here wondering, okay, so it's a good idea, but I don't know what I would bring up as far as, having the conversation.
Check in, girl.
Well, that's a really good question. So you mentioned that you met with your tax professional. What services are they going to be? Have you discussed that they're going to be providing for you? Is it just tax preparation, or have you discussed having that long-term relationship with them? So you want to establish the role that they are going to play with you. So if it's just going to be tax preparation, then you need to make sure that you understand that it's tax preparation, but you want more. You want tax planning. So speak to them and say, okay, throughout the year, I want to be able to work with you to where you're going to take a look at my finances, so we can make sure that if there's any strategies that can be implemented, that we do implement them, so I'm not overpaying at the end of the year, so where I can minimize whatever potential tax liability that I may have. So that is going to be a conversation you have with your tax professional, because a lot of times, if you're just doing tax preparation with them, in their mind, they're just doing tax preparation. They're not expecting you to want more. They're not expecting to meet with you throughout the year. So having a clear understanding that this is what I want from you. What does that look like?
Tell us what you want to make sure that we do
3
get.
times
So for
a year,
edit's
4
sake,
times a year. Theoretically, you would want to be once a quarter. They should be able to take a look at your finances every quarter at the minimum and say, hey, this is what we're looking at. This is what your estimated taxes should be.
So
you're on track to make X, Y, Z amount this year. And based on that, you should expect to pay X amount in taxes. So you should be meeting with them at least every quarter. They should be able to review your finances with you, and you should ask them,
please,
what
y'all tell
can we
me
do
to
to
sit up,
minimize
look, because I don't know if she's looking down, I'm looking up, we not in sync.
Estimated to be, and what can we do to
This is
minimize
gonna be a trial
what
and
that
error.
liability
Got
is?
it. Got it.
Thank you so much for that, because I think we put a lot of trust in our tax professionals to kind of, guide us and tell us everything that we need to do. But this conversation was really helpful because it just reinforced that we need to take responsibility for what we want in, our business and what we like to see financially. So thank you so much for answering that.
We've been on for an hour and a half.
We got on 6.
That's
All
an
right.
hour
Any
and a
more
half.
questions out there? Any more questions? Anybody have any more questions?
Did you unmute yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
We're on.
okay. Cool.
Yeah. We're on. Any more questions? Do we have any more questions?
I got so many gems today. I'm just really thankful, and I'm about to finish the rest of my week on hiatus and getting the rest of my paperwork together.
I would like, well, I actually would like for you to chime in as well, too, if it's anything that you want to add to that they may want to ask. I think you may, if there's anything in addition, definitely please chime in and advise of anything that she may want to ask when she does meet with her professional.
Oh, you was talking to Shakana?
Yeah, I was saying if she wanted to chime in and maybe give a little insight as well too, I'm sure it'd be extremely useful if she wanted to add anything to what I had just mentioned.
Okay.
So, sorry, so I was trying to unmute myself, but it wasn't unmuted. So I think, of course, everything that you mentioned, I think is extremely important. The only thing that I would add is when you are meeting with any professional, just have a clear expectation. And I like the fact that she had mentioned, like, that puts a little bit of responsibility on the client, and it does. You have to have a clear expectation of where you're going, right? From the investments that you're trying to make, where you're trying to go, the wealth that you're trying to build for your family, how, what you want that to look like. And again, you may not have all those answers, but as long as you know, like, okay, I have some sort of idea on what I want, then again, like I said from the beginning, building your team, getting those people together so that they can help you get where you're going. And so that goes with tax planning as well, right? Like, you may, of course, yes, it's important to save on taxes, but it's also extremely important to know where you're going. Yeah. Do you want to buy a home? Yes. Like I mentioned earlier, I encounter a lot of people in the beauty business once it is time for them to want to acquire some assets. Because they're like, oh my God, I need to qualify for a loan. I'm getting all this money and I'm getting paid and I know I can pay my mortgage, but I don't have any of my taxes filed, right? So again, if you just know where we're going and able to, have those conversations, then it'll make the world a difference, and at least you're communicating. And then that also ties into, how do you know that you're hiring the right person? You may go to have this conversation and they may say, tax planning, I don't do tax planning. Like, I do your taxes. You're going to bring me your stuff at the end of the year and I'm going to do your taxes, and that's it, right? And then that's how you'll know, based on your needs and what you need as a business owner, that person is not a good fit for you.
Thank you.
I'm lost for words, right? Like,
you guys dropped so much. I think what I gathered from that last answer basically is to write down your goals. Yeah. Write down your goals and bring those goals to the tax preparer, to the CPA that you have deemed to be the one that you want to handle your money, and ask them, how do I get from here to here? That's it. And let them guide you, and then having those follow-up conversations, whether that's once a month, whether that's quarterly, whether that's, every few weeks, like what you said, and just making sure you communicate with them like they somebody in your family, basically. Yeah.
They actually, they're working with you to help you build your finances. And like she said, tax planning, tax strategy. When you're getting ready to go buy a house, you guys, and you have not filed your taxes for 2 years, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
You're not getting a house.
No.
That's really the bottom line. And it was just so many diamonds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everything from still, even if you have a business bank account, you still have to keep your receipts. And thankfully, Maud shared her platform with us. So I really want to make sure that you guys go and check out her app. What's the name of it? It's called Beauty Expense. I almost forgot. Make sure you guys check out Beauty Expense. That can help a lot. Also, QuickBooks was mentioned. If you don't know how to do it yourself, get that. Ask your preparer.
Yeah. Another thing too is I know Keisha had mentioned Excel. Yeah. And for folks that may not have like Excel on their computer, is on your phone, you can always download Google Docs. So if you have a Gmail account, that can give you access to like Excel within Google Docs. So you can keep track of that as like another option if you don't have like the software or, a laptop or anything like that. Yeah. So that is another option for you to use.
For sure. Well, it looks like it's some other stuff going on tonight over at Versus. We really, we got a little mild room tonight, but I think we need to bring this room back.
I do. I think we need to have a part two because it was so much good information.
It really was. Great information. I think I want to just reintroduce the room and then also bring the room to a close. Yes. Today was all about beauty talks with myself and Angela Styles. We are all about money, branding, and relationships. We are coming to you guys every single week, 6 o'clock on Monday nights. Stylists are off. Get your pen and your paper. And I think we could really expand this to like contractors, stylists, nails, hair, makeup, everybody in the beauty industry. We need it most. We are the category it's kind of forgotten about, but how can you forget about us? We make you beautiful.
Yes, and it's a $1 billion industry.
Exactly.
So there's money being made, there's money being exchanged, and we're here to talk about it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. Thank you to all the speakers, to all the people who came up to share your insight and your knowledge. You guys gave us so much tonight.
Yes.
And we will be back again next week.
Yes. Join us on Clubhouse every single week. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're bringing this back because I feel like the room was a little mild tonight. We've had way better rooms. And I know that this topic is like
very
tax season
much
is all
needed.
freaking month.
So needed.
Or 2 or 3 for some folks. And if you need an extension,
it got extended.
4 or 5.
It got extended.
Oh, it got extended.
Yeah.
It's almost going to be a year-long tax season the way it keeps being extended.
Exactly. So I want to bring this back, and I thank you, ladies, so much. Like I said, the room was mild, but those that did come, I hope you wrote down some of these tips and got you some really good notes. I thank you, ladies, again and again, and good night.
Yes, we'll see you next week.
Good night.
Good night, guys. Thank you. All right.
That was good.
What was your favorite takeaway from our conversation tonight?
You know, for me, my number one question has been Cash App.
Yes.
Because every client wants to tip you on Cash App. And I put it in my updates when you make your appointment online. I tell you, please, if you could do the tips in cash, that would be great. I run a business and your tips are taxed.
Yeah.
So that was the number one thing for me that I really wanted to ask these ladies. Tell us about this Cash App. We're bringing this back.
Yeah, you asked that like 3 times.
I did, because these people, they're going to stop trying to give me tips on Cash App.
But yeah, because it's documented.
It is.
I think the biggest thing for me is just hearing how they go about preparing clients for the future. Yes. And just being
and that was
more
called what, tax planning?
Tax planning. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even really know that was a thing because one of the ladies on there, she said basically most clients come to me when it's already hit the fan.
Yeah, or bookkeeping season.
Yeah, bookkeeping season. And it's so important to just make sure you're building that relationship with your tax professional all year round, talking to them constantly about your goals, how your goals are changing, and then readdressing things, making the changes as needed so that you can hit all the benchmarks that you want and not get affected by anything you missed or not, get that
COVID.
lean or get, exactly. And so I just thought that was so important because, we keep up with our friends, we keep up with our family. We do not keep up with our tax account.
Yeah, exactly. That was a really good one too. And I think another good one was just maintaining a good relationship relationships as a whole is a big topic for us, but also with your banker, your accountant, your bookkeeper. There is a difference between a tax keeper and a bookkeeper. Yeah. By the way,
the bookkeeper maintains everything during the year. The tax person is maintaining the book specifically for taxes. So,
exactly.
And the bookkeeper and the banker kind of can work together too, as far as, if you want to get a loan, if you want to get a home, if you want to, obtain anything new based on what your records show. And so, having that team. People think about when the beauty industry, you think about your team as your assistant and, people who work on the creative side with you, your social media person and then this and that. And it's like this part of your team is
vital.
just as important, if not even more important. So
Yes.
that's what I took away from it. It was such a good conversation.
I loved it. I love
doing this.
And at the end of the day, we got some solutions. We had Maud come in and tell us about her app. It's called
Beauty Expense.
Beauty Expense. So we got a good takeaway. You don't even have to keep your receipts anymore.
As long as you taking a picture of them, you don't have to keep the physical copy.
Come on now.
So
Come
as long as
on.
you're taking a picture, it's putting it in a folder, it's getting sent off to your bookkeeper. Boom, boom, boom. Easy.
Yeah, you got records. So that's what it's about, checks and receipts.
Hello.
All right. I want to just say I enjoyed today, and I want to bring this one back
Yes.
and back and back because we cannot forget about our taxes. Angela and I have both learned like huge lessons
The
about
hard way.
tax liens and not paying our taxes on time.
Yeah.
I experienced it.
I've experienced it.
And it was hell paying it back. So be sure to tune in to our Clubhouse because we got some great information. Beauty Talks with myself
Angela C. Styles.
every Monday on Clubhouse.